Now, that's the one I like right there.
This is episode 4, and today we're talking about the Huskers' first Big Ten victory over the Wildcats.
Episode 4 what? For what?
This is episode 4
of what?
Well, the
Husker Nation. Come on, we gotta say the name.
That's my next line.
Okay, just making sure.
All right, hold on. Yeah.
Look, I got it all flustered right now.
You did the same thing. Yes. Well, I'll just move right into it.
Just move right into it.
Well, see, you do the first line to tease it, and then you wait a couple seconds so they can jam out in the music.
Oh, okay. I'm just having fun with you today.
And then after that, then I say, welcome to Tommy Fraser's Husker Nation.
See, here's the thing about it. You got to be happy with 4. This is Happy Monday, 4-0 Monday.
It's crazy because I actually chopped what I was going to say in half because of last week you cut me off and said, what is it? So I cut it. I went to one sentence.
Oh, we're just having fun today. Nebraska's 4-0. You got to be happy. You got to be excited about that. I don't care how they did it, but they're 4-0.
They're 4-0?
Last year they were 2-2 at this time, so actually there's improvement.
That was a rough year.
No, but still though.
It was a rough year.
But you got to use this. But you got to use last year as a landmark for where they are this year.
I agree totally.
And so for all the people out there who want to say Nebraska's not, hey, just go back and look at last year. They were 2-2.
At this point, they were 2-2.
And the quarterback had thrown 5 or 6 interceptions.
Yeah.
Now look at this year. They're 4-0, and he's only throwing 1 interception?
I think he's 1 for the year right now.
1 for this year, so that's an improvement right there. So people, let's be happy. We're 4-0.
I think you just cut off like half my material. You already answered it.
Well, I can answer in the question form.
Anyway, I'm Dan Powers, the co-host, and I'm joined by 2-time national champ Tommy Fraser.
Yes, sir.
And this week, of course, well, I don't even want to talk about them yet. First, let me say,
talk about
week,
what?
Well, I'm going to talk about the game. We'll get to the game. Before that, I was happy. This isn't. I won't say the other TV person right now. Irritating. But BTN's coming to town.
Oh, with the BTN tailgate.
Yeah, BTN tailgate.
Kind of like this game day off the other major network game day type deal.
The other network pissed me off this week.
Oh, well, that network always going to piss people off. So you just got to take them with a grain of salt. You have people. Here's the problem with the other network. You have a lot of guys who think they know everything but really don't. And that's what you see with a lot of these sports talk shows. Where there's only 2 people on that network that I actually would give credibility to. One is Desmond Howard, and the other one is Pollock, the one who played at Georgia, defense end. All of the Yahoo, I know Kirk Herbstreit played college football, this and that, but still though, because you're an analyst of the game doesn't necessarily mean you know everything. But Desmond Howard and Pollock, those 2 guys, you tell those guys get out there and they go behind the scenes and do more. So I give kudos to those guys what they say I say, because they don't take personal shots versus schools here and there. They're going to be consistent in what they say, whether they like you or they don't.
Yeah,
and they're going to give you credit when you deserve credit. They're going to criticize you when you criticize you.
Yep.
So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, there was one of them that was criticizing douchebag this week. I was like.
But he always though. I mean, you go back to when they were talking about the greatest teams that ever played a game a couple years back.
Yeah,
and he was whining. I can't believe Nebraska has the top 2 teams. Up to this must be rigged and all this kind of stuff. And I think Lou Holtz stood up for Nebraska. Hey, they are the 2 best teams. You can't say because you can't have 2 best teams from the same school. So of course he's a homer.
He is.
He's a homer. He's an Ohio State fan, and
then
he's going to be there. But at the end of the day, he's getting paid to do his job. And Nebraska fans just have to know that's how he is and take it with a grain of salt.
Well, the good news is after this Husker victory, BTN decided to come to do the tailgate show. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
coming to Lincoln.
It's going to be a fun atmosphere. Hopefully the students can get out there early, the fans get out there early, and make it an exciting day. The whole Big Ten right now is heating up, right? We got there's 3 teams in the top 8 and 5 in the top 20. I'm telling you, but the SEC is supposed to be the power conference. But here's the thing about it. Doesn't matter. Yes, the SEC might have the best team, Alabama. They might in the country.
Yeah.
But when you stack everybody else up, they're not this big giant that people think they are. Maybe 5 years ago they were, but all these other conferences have caught up to them. And I can take it one step further. I know we're talking about the Big Ten. Don't count out the ACC. They have 3 teams. They have 3 teams that compete with
Louisville
anyone.
looks ridiculous.
Louisville looks ridiculous. Clemson looked very good the other night.
Yeah, Clemson
on Thursday night. That
yeah.
defense looked very well. And then Florida State rebounded with Dalvin Cook rushed for 267 yards. I didn't think it was going to happen, but you you just can't say the SEC is the best conference anymore. Because right now,
definitely not.
Right now, if you look at it, the Big Ten might be the best conference.
They might be stacked. Pac-12's definitely taking a kind of step off.
No, I don't say that. I'm not saying they're gonna take a step off because there's still some good teams. You got Washington, you got Stanford. And don't even count out Arizona State or Arizona State. Cal. Cal did beat a Texas team who was coming up. So but when you look from top to bottom, or let me phrase it, from top to top, from 1 to 8.
Yeah,
the Big Ten can compete with anybody.
Absolutely. And hopefully we'll see somebody else up there soon enough. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Iowa back in the top 25 before too long.
Well, they got to play a lot better. They got to play a lot better. That's to me, that's probably the most disappointing team in the Big Ten right now is Iowa. Actually,
you're right. This week, they are going to have to play better. This week, they really surprised me. When they played Rutgers, that was such a boring game.
It was so boring. And Rutgers actually cost themselves a chance to win that game early in the first half when they're down there 4th and 1 and tried to run the option, and the quarterback, instead of pitching it, he kept the ball. I mean, so Iowa, there's something going on in Iowa right now. There's some disconnect there.
I would agree.
There's some disconnect there.
There's something going on because they actually they should have a better team this year. I mean, they
had a lot of guys coming back. But once again, Kurt Franz got that extension, so you always has a good year, then have a couple mediocre years, then you have a good year to save his job. So
sorry, Iowa fans. I mean,
hey, the truth of the facts are the facts. I don't say things based off the facts, not what I want to happen, what I think happened.
All right.
Who was the one that broadcast? Was it the female? Was that Pam Ward? What's her name that always does it?
They did the Iowa one?
Yes.
I don't know who it was. I didn't watch the first half
Beth
of it.
Mowins?
I caught the second half. But she has a very distinct voice.
Yes, and when I hear her voice, I just turn it right away.
Yeah, she has a very distinct voice.
I turn it right away. Yeah, because it's just hard listening to her.
Yeah.
I'm not saying she can't. Not saying she's not intelligent. She don't know football. It's just something about her voice.
I would agree, actually.
I just turn it away.
Well.
But on to this past week.
I had the hiccup.
Oh, you had the hiccups. Yeah, timeout.
Timeout for hiccups. That's the part of live stuff. Yeah, on to this week. I got to watch the game on the road from a phone, but I still got to watch most of the game. I watched probably 80-85% of the game.
Right.
So I wish I could watch more. But nevertheless, this is a second straight week for the Huskers where they were able to accomplish something that you pointed out earlier that they couldn't do last year, and that's go 4-0 and close out 2 games at the end, right? We lost that BYU game right at the end.
Right.
And then we went into conference play and lost again a tough one that we should not have lost.
Right.
So Huskers now 4-0. They took care of
Northwestern, which we thought they should have. And this game was closer than what the score actually was. A lot more, not as close as the score said it was. If you look at the way the game was played, it shouldn't have been that.
There was
close.
some mistakes.
There was some mistakes by Nebraska.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, the biggest difference this year. And people would say, well, it's Tommy Armstrong. No, I say the biggest difference is the defense. Because if you go back under the first year of Banker, and you go back to this year, when something breaks down, someone's there to make the play. Okay, and of course they gave up 2 big plays, and that's how they got their touchdowns. But look at the whole game.
Yeah.
When Nebraska fumbled the ball, the defense went out there and stopped them 3 and out, and Nebraska gave a chance back. Well, last year when Nebraska fumbled the ball, what happened? Team would go down and score, get points on the board. The defense is playing well. Now, me saying, are they making mistakes? Yes. But a lot of mistakes aren't schematics. It's all individual mistakes where guys get out of position, or a guy is not making a tackle or something like that. Or one time it was just a bad play call, a defensive call. That happens in games. But I think the defense is a big part of the 4-0.
Well, they held Nebraska, or they held Wisconsin. God,
Northwestern
held the Wildcats is what I was trying to get out. But yes, Northwestern to 137 yards rushing, which is
just over 4.3 yards, maybe 4.4 yards a carry.
And their quarterback had that one long run.
42 yards.
Yes. So that average isn't. It's even better than what it really says.
But it also goes back to say that quarterback had 10 carries for 43 yards on the game.
Yeah.
But one of those carries was 42 yards. So what does that tell you about?
Yeah.
And this is not the same guy who rushed for 130 yards versus Nebraska last year.
Last year, same guy.
Yeah. So obviously they knew what they're supposed to do. And even their starting tailback, who's supposed to be one of the best backs in the Big Ten, had 20 carries for 79 yards.
Yeah.
So they kept him in check. So the key is they didn't give up too many big plays. Well, last year, how many big plays did they give up?
Yeah, we talked about last year how many times I bring up the explosive play count.
Yeah.
And it was over and over. And I really haven't tracked it this year because up to this point, they really haven't given up too many.
They haven't. It's nickel and dime. It's nickel and dime. And they're getting off they're actually winning the third down battles. They're actually getting off the field on third down a lot more than they did last year.
The one thing it's still, I guess it doesn't frustrate me this year, but I have concern about that I was really concerned about last year, but they still start really slow. It seems like, at least, that it takes them a series or two to get going.
Well, I think the problem with when you hear that the problem defensively, I think what you run into is that when you play in these teams with that run a spread offense, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know the tempo, how fast they're going to run and come out with. And I think they're trying to call it base stuff, just try to get in the flow of the game. But once they start settling down, you start seeing them flying around a little bit more and making plays. And I think now when you see them face this team that all they want to do is pound the ball, run the ball, not to get to their base sets and line up and let's go out to somebody. So I truly believe that defensively start slow because of the type of system that they're going up against.
Well, that's good to know. Because when I watch it, I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, why does it take that first series or two?
Because they start slow versus Wyoming.
Yeah.
Not defensively, they didn't.
But on the offense, they still did.
But I'm talking about defense side of the ball.
Yeah.
But offensively, when you're trying, here's the thing with offense: when you're trying to run the football and you're trying to make that part of your game plan this week, you got to stick with it. You got to stick with it. And of course, early in the games, when the defense is the most excited, most ready to go, most fresh, and off the defense begin the game. So that you pound the ball early, and look what happens late in the games. Those 2-yard runs turn into 5-6 yard runs.
So Nebraska rushed 47 times, 310 yards, and it looks like they passed for 29 times, at least attempted to. So not quite balanced, but still staying fairly close to that.
Well, it's showing you that, hey, we're going to run the ball. We're not in a game. This was a game to where they didn't need to throw the ball 35, 40 times a game.
Well, they displayed that the fourth quarter. They didn't score the fourth quarter, I don't think, if my memory serves me right.
No, they scored the third quarters.
But they controlled the clock, and they just pounded the ball.
Yes.
And the running game, I'm not one that's super high on this running squad so far. I've been kind of iffy, and I just don't know.
Right.
A lot of that probably is because newbie. It just there's just something about newbie. It's the really good days and bad days, but they've stuck to it, and it's worked.
Well, what they're doing is it's run back by committee. So whoever has the hot hand is the guy who's going to stay and who's the guy's going to get the bulk of the carries. If you notice the first half, newbie got off to a great start. He fumbles. That happens. People are like, oh, he don't do it again. Hey, if you watch the NFL, Kansas City Chiefs yesterday, the same thing happened to them. So when you're trying, I credit his effort, his will to want to get in the end zone. And I think I tweeted out, hey, great effort, just hold on to the ball. But it happens in the NFL. Just yesterday. So I mean, I'm not worried about that, mad about that. Then you get Xebo, he gets in there. He didn't play very well Saturday.
He didn't have the biggest game.
He had the biggest game. It's probably, but when you put Michael Wilbon in there, Mikael Wilbon?
Yeah.
And he goes out and has 6 carries for 55 yards. So I think they're going with the guy who's giving them the best chance, who has the momentum there. And in the second half, Wilbon was the guy.
It's been interesting how they've been playing the running backs every game, because it doesn't seem to be the guy, right?
I think they just said the guy who has the hot hand is the guy we're going to stick with.
They're going to play. I like that attitude.
I do to a point, but eventually late in the season, you got to find someone and say, hey, you the guy.
I don't know who there is. I mean, we seen Trey Bryant play a couple of last week and the week before. He got out there kind of early.
But I think Trey Bryant's problem is that I think the couple games I watched him play, he's fumbled the ball a couple times.
I think that's why they pulled him last week. Yeah, last week they pulled him early.
He's great talent. But still young. But when you're a freshman, you're trying to compete for playing time. The one thing that will not get you on the field is fumbling the football.
Well, now they got 3, if not 4, decent backs that are in the mix that they got to figure out how to play these guys.
Right.
If
you don't, you're gonna lose one.
Yeah, that's what I guess that was the question I was going to get to. What happens if you don't play him?
Well, it goes back. Go back and look at when Nebraska had, who was it? Rex Burkhead, Amir Abdullah, Aaron Green, and Braylon Hurd.
Yeah, Braylon Hurd.
And how many of those guys left? Two of them.
Yeah,
2 of them. So eventually, can you keep all 4 of them? You would like to, but you probably won't keep all 4 of them out this year, especially if you recruit another top running back coming in next year. because there's not enough balls to carry. So I don't want to see those guys leave because each one of them, there's a place for all of them. But all those guys think they're every down back. They want to be the number one guy. So after this year, you never know what's going to happen.
Well, it was nice to see Wilbon, do as well as he did in front of his home crowd.
Right, and I think they had a lot to do with why you got more carries.
Yeah, I remember Riley came out and said that had nothing to do with it, but
that's what they say. But how many times they try to throw touchdown passes at Westerkamp?
Yeah,
they gave him a reverse and get a touchdown.
That was a nice reverse.
That's a nice reverse. But what I'm getting at though, when you got players going back to their hometown, basically their neighborhood, you want to have them have some success there.
Yeah.
Because that's the reason why you recruit them. Hey, we're going to be able to go back to your home, where you grew up at, play in front of your fans, your family, and all this, and be successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they were trying to get him a touchdown.
They should.
They were trying to get him a touchdown. And I have no problem with that.
No, I don't either.
Just don't go out of your game plan to do it.
Well, you brought up Westerkamp's touchdown, which was a beautiful play, I thought. But you actually told me something that I didn't realize on my, I don't know what this is, 5.5-inch screen I didn't quite catch. But you mentioned Alonzo Moore.
No, Stanley Morgan.
Oh, I'm sorry, Stanley Morgan.
Stanley Morgan. He made that play happen, and people, and I actually saw it live. I'm like, did he just block two people? Because go back, I want people to go back and look at this on Westerkamp's touchdown run to where Stanley Morgan sealed the inside. And then once Westerkamp started getting out to the outside, he actually peeled off and went and blocked the last guy. And so when you watch him, while watching when Westerkamp scored, he actually slowed up, and you saw Morgan blocking the guy, and he just goes right in the end zone. And to me, he made that play.
We've talked about all the other guys, and even last week we kind of talked about all the other guys. We didn't talk a lot about Stanley Morgan, but he's been out there making plays.
Stanley is probably the one receiver that I think. And this is not saying anything negative about the other guys, but when you look at the future, the upside of the receivers that we have, he's one of those guys that if he continues to progress, he could be a high draft pick.
Sophomore.
He could be a high draft pick at receiver. And Nebraska hadn't had a high receiving type player in a long time. I think the last person was Johnny Mitchell, and he was a tight end.
Was it Johnny Mitchell?
Johnny Mitchell. I think he was the last receiver, tight end type player that we've had that was drafted high.
Oh, high, yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny
now,
Mitchell.
We have other guys who were drafted, but I'm just talking about can be a potential first, second round pick.
Dude, we need Johnny Mitchell on this thing. Johnny Mitchell was a stud. I loved
for the 2.5 years he was at Nebraska. He was a stud, huh?
Well, I mean, he was just. He's one of those guys. There's the rare guys that come in and they're just a beast.
Now rumors are he's back in school in Lincoln.
Oh yeah,
he's back finishing up his degree. That's rumors. Now I don't know that, but.
Well, good for him if he is.
Yeah, but it goes to show you that, guys.
Good for him.
Goes to show you that if you want to, and I'll tell young kids all the time, you can go and leave school early and go to the NFL, make a lot of money, do whatever you got to do. But the ultimate goal is to make sure you get your degree.
Yeah.
Especially if you have kids. How can you tell them to go to college and finish when you didn't do it? So that's the main message that you go make as much money as you can, but make sure you finish your degree. Make sure you finish it.
Well, good for him. I hope he, if that's the case. I mean, he would have been a junior your freshman year, right?
He left in 91.
I think he left in 91.
He would have been junior.
Yeah.
He would have been junior.
God damn, that would have been interesting. But it worked out. It worked out either way. It worked out. So no big deal. But Nebraska is stacked this year. The one person I was hoping to see more from again this week that he got 3 interceptions or receptions, I think, but no punt returns was DP.
DP, yeah, but you know what? He was out there.
Yeah,
he was out there, and you could tell his confidence is coming back because just watching when he caught those 3 passes, how he's looking to make somebody make a play.
Well, it seemed like he didn't have any pass blocking or any punt return blocking.
It's 3 things that happens on punts. Okay, you either call what you call a hold up punt, where you got them just holding up and you basically securing the catch.
Yeah.
Okay. You have a safe punt to where you don't know what they're going to run a trick play here or not. So they punt the ball and you just catch it. And then you have a return to where you actually set up a return. Northwestern is one of those teams right now that in their punt game probably they didn't know if they're going to run something special or try a trick play or something. So you just say, hey, force them to punt the ball and we'll take field position or we'll just field it and move offense. But I'm thinking they got with a guy like that. I don't care who you're playing against. You come up with some type of blocking scheme so he can at least make an effort to return the ball. Because we saw in Oregon, he changed the whole game with that one punt return. Give him an opportunity just to return it.
Well, we didn't even have kickoff return. We had one kickoff return.
Well, the guy was kicking the ball. The guy was kicking the ball deep, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was probably kicking it deep, and then our punt. What's
Leitenberg,
Leitenberg.
Yes,
I think he was averaging like 38 yards. Mm-hmm. So nothing earth shattering there.
But what I want to say about this game here, it wasn't anything fancy. You know, Nebraska went out and did a blue collar job, and sometimes you have to do that, especially when a lot of the things that happen in the game were your own doing. You know, go back to offensively when you fumble 2 balls in the end zone.
Yep.
And you're taking points off the board there. And then defense, you give up a long 42-yard run, or you give up a play action pass where you got 2 guys then were out of position. You know, a lot of that stuff you can clean up. But the one thing I can say, I was just happy for them to go out and win a game like this, because they're outside of Illinois and Purdue, the rest of the game is going to be games like you just saw.
It was really interesting, at least for me as a fan, just to see, like, they beat Oregon. That was the big game.
Uh-huh.
But it was like, oh, my God, can they keep the momentum, or are they just going to fall apart? Like, we've seen that in the past where they've won a decent game and they just fall apart. But they seem like they're keeping up in the momentum. And we haven't said nothing about him yet, but Tommy Armstrong, again, he was Big Ten Player of the Week.
Yeah, you can see in the second half that he was determined. I'm going to put this team on my back, and we're going to win this game. And then, once again, he went out and played a flawless game. And then, once again, I hear people talking about, well, what about that one pass he threw that was almost picked off? People, if you throw the football enough, you're going to make a bad pass. If you throw the football enough, you're going to make a bad read. Get over that.
But only 1 interception for the year.
He only has 1 interception of the year. Yes, people say, well, the guy would have caught it, been 6. You said the key there. If the guy would have caught it. He didn't catch it, so no harm, no foul. Was it a bad read? And I won't necessarily say it was a bad read. I think the defensive player just made a great read with himself.
Yeah.
I think he made a great play. He just didn't catch the ball. So he's going to make some mistakes.
He's played lights out.
Yeah.
I mean, he is playing really, really good football right now.
So people stop picking out on the stuff that he does wrong and look at what he's doing right to help this team win 4 games.
Well, it seems like this year, and you tell me if you see otherwise, but it seems like there's a trust factor now with him and the coaching staff, and they are allowing him to go and play football. Where last year it seemed like he wasn't running, he wasn't getting those plays,
right.
he wasn't really put in a position to be as successful.
Well, I think the key is that they're getting him outside the pocket a lot more to where he can make plays with his feet, run pass options, and they're not making him be a drop back passer. You know, people say, well, that's not true. Yes, he may take 1, 2, 3, but he's throwing a little short 5, 6 yard route, getting the ball to the receiver's hand, letting them go. And then there's a couple times where he'll throw the ball deep. A lot of it's out play action type stuff or boots and get him out of the side of the pocket. That's what he's doing. Well, last year he was dropping back 60% of the time. Well, that wasn't his strength.
Yeah.
So they're calling this offense based off of what he can do. And now here's my question. What's going to happen next year when you have a quarterback who can't run the ball? How's that going, especially if you can't get a rush and get your backs can constantly pound it? So that's what I'm looking for this year. Kudos. Well, how can you adjust it for next year when you don't have timing?
Yeah, whole new game plan.
So now when you see this, is this your game plan? Because we don't have the stud running backs yet. I think we have a couple of young guys that can be that. But what are you going to do next year? So people stop complaining about the things Tommy's not doing right this year and praise the stuff that he is doing right. Because if he gets hurt, and knocking on wood, if he gets hurt, who do we have that can continue to run the offense with the efficiency that he's running it with?
Yeah.
That's the question I want people to answer. And you can send it on. You can tweet that to me. You can social media, whatever. He's the best for this team this year.
Yeah, he's fitting in perfectly. And I would worry, it'd be really interesting to see the running game next year. Because I think because of Tommy, he allows that running game to be what it is. And without that, I don't know if we have a back strong enough at the moment.
I think we have a couple
like a
backs
star, like a focus back.
Yes, no, we don't have that. I think we do in the Divine Zigbo.
Yeah.
I just don't think that we have the offensive line right now that can line up every play and just pound. And so this zone read stuff, I think by having a running quarterback, it takes a lot of pressure off them. Of having to be perfect for every play.
Yep.
Now, if you didn't have a running quarterback, it'd be tough for them to have to line up every play and then pound for a running back, tailback, I-back, whatever you want to call them, run game. So having a running quarterback takes a lot of pressure off the offensive line being correct. Ton of pressure.
All right, so this week we decided not to do Tommy's takes this week because there was just so many good things. It's hard to send it down. But let me ask you a different question then.
Okay.
How about you give me a grade for the 3 areas of the ball game? So how would you grade the offense?
I grade the offense
A through F.
Well, I grade them a B minus.
B minus.
And the only reason I say that because of the turnovers. You know, when you have,
I think it's a fair grade.
When you have critical turnovers like that, you cost your team points. You can't say they were A. So I say B.
I mean, they put up a ton of yards.
They put up a ton of yards, but they didn't finish. They didn't finish a lot of drives.
No, there was a couple, and they did. I was really disappointed with the newbie one, but as you said, that was a great effort.
They still punted. They punted the ball. What was it? 10 times.
Yeah.
They had 10 punts.
So there was still a lot of drives they didn't finish.
No, am I reading that right? It was 5 punts. 10 punts. I mean, so.
Wow, 10 punts?
No, it's 5. As we're looking at a certain person's app, they got they got it down twice. So they punted the ball 5 times.
No, you're right. It's 5. I don't know why they have that. I have it too.
5 times. So that means that's 5 drives that they didn't finish.
Yeah.
You kind of want to keep your punts down to maybe 1, 2, 3 a game.
I mean, just to compare Northwestern, they punted 6 times.
They punted 6 times. So offense, I give them a B minus. You eliminate those turnovers, and you scoring 2 more touchdowns. You could have been a B plus, A minus.
What about the defense?
Defense, I'm gonna give them a B plus.
A B plus.
B plus.
Wow.
A B plus. Anytime you can hold a team to 13 points, you can hold one of the top running backs supposedly in the Big Ten to 79 yards on 20 some carries.
B plus.
You did your job.
Well, the secondary just looks better and better every week.
Oh, did you see some of the picks? Did you see that pick Kalu made at the end of the game?
At the end. Yeah.
Yes, I mean those guys. Shouts out to Coach Brian Stewart. You know, last year people were talking about how good of a coach he was, this and that, because when you have talent, and you have guys who have the will and the want to, this is the results you get. Coach Stewart is one of the better coaches in college football. You don't become the defensive coordinator at Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
You don't become the defensive coordinator at a Division I school if you're not a good coach. Okay? I don't care who you are. There's a reason why you're a coordinator at the pro level.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so now you're seeing now that he got some young talent and got talent. He's been with guys his second year. He's doing well with them.
They look good. All right, special teams.
Special teams, I got to give them a C. Yeah. There was nothing too exciting about special teams. I mean, they didn't get any punts blocked, or they didn't get any big returns or anything like that. You know, so I give them a C.
All right, that's about right. They're sitting average. They didn't hurt the game. They didn't help the game.
Right. You know,
either way.
You know, you thought on the punt game that you gained more yardage and field advantage there, but it's once again it was a par performance by special teams.
Yeah. Overall,
I give it a B. Give this game a B.
It was an interesting game.
It can't be any lower than that when you win a football game.
No, they won. I think it was a B. I think the team played very well.
They played well enough to win the game. And like I said, offensively, if you take away those 2 fumbles inside the goal line in the end zone, they could have been a B plus for me.
I think you said it well at the beginning. I think the score doesn't tell how much this game was really one-sided.
Right.
I mean, those mistakes hurt us early on, but Nebraska, even despite that, the game never got out of hand them.
No,
at all.
There was never a doubt. Even when Northwestern went down and kicked the first field goal, there was never a doubt in my mind that this game was going to be a tough one.
No,
it wasn't. Because I just knew Nebraska defense is that much more improved than it was last year, and I felt that the offense can do enough to put points on the board.
Well, they seem to be playing with a lot more consistency.
That's what we need. That's what Nebraska needs, and that's what you're saying. A consistent football team to when they don't turn the football over, they play well.
Yep.
When they get turnovers, they play well.
All right. Good game.
Yeah, good game.
So next week, we talk about next week briefly.
The Illini.
So, next week the Huskers are back in Lincoln, and they're playing the Illinois Illini. 2:30 game. Illini's 1-2 on the season with some rough losses.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we can finish the show now.
No. I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here thinking it wasn't a couple, 2 or 3 years ago when Illinois came here, when Nebraska first year in the Big Ten, and they came in and they scored. They put points on the board, if I'm not mistaken.
I have to go back and look at scores.
But then I also look at last year.
Last year was rough.
I look at last year with a team who fired their coach and had a interim head coach, and they beat Nebraska. And yes, Nebraska didn't play their best game there, but still, though, they still beat Nebraska. So they have the leg up on Nebraska right now because they won the last meeting. Just like Northwestern had the leg up on Nebraska this year because they won.
And we beat them 45-14.
But was it
in Lincoln?
What was it early on though?
Oh, now you're asking me to get all.
Well, you missed the technology guy here. But I just remember that they had a running back who ran the ball pretty well versus Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
and they beat Nebraska last year. So in this conference here, what you're starting to see that you got to go out and you got to play your best every week in, week out. Because if you don't, someone can sneak up and beat you. And Nebraska saw that. Iowa saw that they beat Rutgers this week.
Yeah,
this past week, but it was a dogfight.
Yeah.
So Illinois is going to come in here. They're going to be prepared. Now they do have a very strong coaching staff with Lovie Smith and some of the guys that he brought in, guys who played in the NFL, guys who can recruit the areas that they want.
Yeah.
I give them 3 or 4 years, and you might see a more competitive Illinois team. But this year, they're just taking their lumps, just trying to. It's no different than what Nebraska went through last year. When you got new coaching staff trying to figure out your players, trying to figure out what they can do, you're gonna take your lumps, and so it's gonna be a tough game for Illinois. I really believe that.
Yeah, it will be a tough game, I would assume, for them.
Especially when you already open up as 21-point underdogs.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And this is conference play. I haven't seen a conference game to where it's a 20-point underdog.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough game for
Vegas usually doesn't get it wrong.
No, this is not a good Illinois team this year. They're going through, a lot of growing pains.
And that's okay. Nebraska went through a lot of growing pains last year.
I don't expect us to see the most dynamic game. It's probably going to be, I would assume, you'll see a lot of run game.
You'll see a lot of run game. You'll see a lot of cover two from Illinois because that's Lovie Smith is a huge cover two guy because he learned it from a former Nebraska.
Oh,
Monty Kiffin.
Oh,
he coached up on the Monty Kiffin with the Buccaneers and then did a lot of cover two. So the whole Tampa Bay cover two scheme. So you're gonna see a lot of cover two with this group here because that's what coaches do. What they feel most comfortable with.
Yeah.
And when you got a young group, you got a group that you don't know, you're gonna do what's easiest for them. And the cover two is probably one of the easiest defenses you can play out there.
Well, for us, ideally, this is a good game that we start to build depth, right? We
hopefully
get some players in there and get some of those guys, some of those younger guys, some time on the field.
Get Trey Bryant more carries. Get Zach Darlington on the field more at receiver.
That'd be awesome.
What happened? I didn't see much of Reimers. I didn't see much of him.
Didn't see him. I don't
think he caught a pass. I don't even think he played.
He was. I don't know if he was definitely. He didn't catch a pass. So
so get guys like that more opportunity to get in the game. Defense, get some of the young guys the opportunity to line. And where I want to see defense have a great game so you can establish some linebacker depth. That's what I want to see. I want to see more linebackers play. But you know what you got in Ivy, you know what you got in Young, you know what you got in Banderas. But what you don't know what you have behind that is one of those guys. Something happens to those guys. So get some of the young linebackers in the game.
All right, you want to make a prediction?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a 28-point victory by Nebraska.
Yeah, I agree totally. I think they'll beat the spread.
Yeah, I think they beat the spread.
I think they'll beat the spread.
Spread plus some.
So I was going to say 24, 25 points, somewhere in there.
I think Nebraska, they're going to commit some force Illinois to commit turnovers. Yeah. Nebraska going to capitalize. You might see a couple of defensive touchdowns this week.
All right, well. Not very excited.
That's my prediction.
All right, got one social question for you.
One social question, huh?
Justin Weberg asked, with the win, if we go undefeated, with the win over Wisconsin, does this make this Nebraska squad the best team we've seen in 15 years?
In 15 years? Well, it's hard to say in 15 years because you're talking about different conferences.
Yeah, that was Big 12. You're right.
You're talking about Big 12.
Big 12.
For me, it's hard to say what would be the best team. Now, you used to look at record-wise, probably. But best team.
Well, you got to bet Pelini went once to the Big 12 championship, right? We lost to Oklahoma.
No, we went twice because we lost to Texas, remember?
Oh, yeah.
No, that was Callahan. No. That was Callahan, Oklahoma.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
But the best team in 15 years, I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to go that far because you also got to look at the type of schedule that they're playing.
Yeah.
If they were undefeated and they were playing the Wisconsin schedule.
Ooh. Yeah.
Then
Wisconsin's got a rough schedule.
Then I will say, you know what? Yes, it is the best team. But when you look at the schedule Wisconsin's playing,
holy crap.
They play LSU. And I know people going to say, well, look at LSU now. But LSU is ranked number 3 or 4 coming and starting the season off. Am I correct? Yes. Then they beat
Michigan State. They're going to go play this week, Michigan.
They got to play Michigan. Then they followed by Ohio State. Then they followed by Iowa.
Iowa and then Nebraska.
So you're talking about right there. You're playing the top
Murder's
4.
Row.
You're talking about the top 4 teams right now in the Big Ten that they have to play.
Yeah.
If they survive that, then they should be the number 1 team in the country. Because they're playing all the top teams. They're playing the number 2 team. They're going to play the number 4 team. And they are the number 8 team.
They got a lot of young.
And they beat the number 8 team.
Oh my God. I mean, it'll be interesting to watch them this year. It really will. Because even if we go in there and win or whatever happens with the Nebraska game, the rest of the season, I mean, they could go from, they could be a top 3 team or they could drop all the way almost out of the top 20.
Within the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Within the next 3 weeks.
I mean, they have a crazy schedule.
Yeah, so no, I don't think if we go undefeated going to Wisconsin, this would be the best Nebraska team in 15 years. No.
That's hard to say.
It's hard to say.
Yeah. But, God damn, I hope it happens.
Well, I would like to go in that game undefeated.
I was really surprised when Nebraska has made 2 weeks in a row pretty big jumps.
Yeah, because here's the thing about Nebraska's schedule is backloaded. When you look at their schedule, you look at Wisconsin, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Back to back. Then they got to play Minnesota and Iowa. Minnesota's playing pretty good football right now.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
And Iowa's always going to be a tough game. So don't worry about what Iowa did versus North Dakota State, because North Dakota State could be a lot of Division I football team.
Yeah.
They can. But that game is going to be a barn, but that game will be a tough one because it always is. So Nebraska's, they still can lose 3 or 4 games on their schedule.
Yeah. Anything can happen at this point.
Yes.
Anything can happen. Let's hope not, but
I think in a perfect world, I see 2 losses on Nebraska's schedule right now.
That's probably fair.
That could be. And I'm right now saying Ohio State. Ohio State is playing pretty good football right now.
They are. They truly are.
Pretty good football. And now my toss-up could be Wisconsin or Iowa. That's my coin flip. Wisconsin or Iowa.
But God, if we're talking about just 2 losses, where
you're in Indianapolis, and you're gonna play on New Year's Day bowl game.
6 weeks ago, we were talking a lot.
I was talking 3 or 4.
Yeah, I mean,
I was predicting that. I was saying, Oregon is my toss-up game. Was a 3 or 4 game. It's 3 or 4 losses. So they're 4-0 now. Let's be happy with that. We got Illinois, that line coming in here on Saturday, 2:30 kickoff, ABC, ESPN2, whichever one decide to pick it up.
Yeah.
And let's just get a win.
Let's get a win.
I don't care how you do it. Get a win.
I'll go with that. All right. This is it. Anything else?
Oh, no,
We've been talking forever.
We've been talking forever. I'm good.
Yeah, and if you haven't noticed, we've done some Facebook Live stuff, and there was a lot of pre-content, so we talked for a little bit before the show even started. So,
we like to talk.
Go to Facebook Live, you can get all the gibberish.
Get all the gibberish. Get all our pre-bets that we do.
Yeah. Pat and JT, there's a lot of smack talking. So all that happens. So you can always go to Touchdown Tommy. Or I'm sorry, Facebook Live /Touchdown Tommy. No, goddamn it. Facebook.com/Touchdown Tommy. And you can see the live stuff.
Or go YouTube or SoundCloud or Twitter and.
Well, now you that was my next sentence.
Well, you screwed up the Facebook, so maybe I got to help you.
I know, I jumped in. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. This show is recorded live to tape each week. If you haven't already, you can go to iTunes, subscribe. Please, wherever you listen to the show, where it's YouTube, SoundCloud, Facebook, iTunes, leave us a review so we know we're doing good or bad or whatnot. And then
I hate when people say or whatnot.
That's just when I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I hate it. It's kind of like it's kind of like when people say but it's like you're trying to find a filler word in there.
It's at least it's not like everybody does the ums all the time.
Right.
I always think before we do this, God, don't say don't say
You got to make a conscious effort.
All right, well, we'll be back next week recapping the Huskers game as they take on Illinois in Lincoln.
Yes, sir.
You going to the game?
I don't know yet. My son got a baseball game at 1 o'clock, so.
That's where we're at, too. We got volleyball, but I will be watching no matter what.
Yeah, so I might sneak down after the baseball game and go hang out and tailgate a little bit, but I haven't decided yet.
Yeah. All right, well, you can follow us over at Twitter at
Touchdown Tommy.
Man, I messed all that social
at
stuff
Touchdown Tommy.
At Touchdown Tommy, or I am at fan named Dan. We'll go
Send your questions in, we'll answer them.
Oh, yeah, send them over.
Till next time.
Hey, what did you think about Les Miles?
That was crazy.
In the middle of the season?
We didn't touch on the Mike Rose-Ivy deal either.
No, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, but we'll let that go.
I actually purposely stayed away from that.
We'll let that go because it's...
I don't know if that was
we'll let that go.
Yeah. But Les Miles?
Whew. Well, they didn't want to keep him last year.
No, but why would they, in the middle of the season?
Why not?
Oh, I guess.
If you're going to make a change...
Well, I guess you're going to make... Yeah.
You might make it now instead of...
Money's not the option now, so...
No. He's making $10 million, so I don't think he's upset.
Well, I guess his son will be coming here.
Oh, yeah. His son's coming here anyway, so you might see him around some, too.
Soon enough. All right.